On top point, which I'll be looking at security challenges in Nigeria. It is obvious that maintaining law and order is the responsibility of the federal government and to also protect the territorial integrity of the country using the 1999 Constitution. And every citizen is also expected to be protected by the government in line with that Constitution. However, there are concerns about safety in some parts of Nigeria, and of course that is also a source of worry due to banditry, due to kidnappings and also terrorism. Sometime last year, October, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu changed the security architecture of the country by appointing new service chiefs. Despite this, Nigeria is still having security challenges. Today on Talk Point, we shall be looking at that, and I have two guests that will be doing justice to that with me. In the studio right here, I have the commander of the Man O War in Lagos State. His name is Ayodele Ajayi. Ayodele, nice to have you on Talk Point.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
You're welcome. Yes, from Texas in United States of America, I have a security expert who has also been part of Talk Point sometime. He is a retired major in the U.S. Army. His name is Major Yinka Ogunsanya. He's a security expert, retired. Yinka, nice having you again on Talk Point. Can you hear me, Yinka? I think we're having some audio challenges there. Yes, I'm sure you can hear me, but we can't hear you. How are you doing there? Okay, once we're able to come up with solve the audio challenge, we'll still get back to you. Let me quickly come back to the studio here. I have Ayodele here. Ayodele, you are the commander of the Man O War. From what you told me earlier, you just got on board 2 weeks ago, and also you've also been in the system since you were in GSS, right?
Yes.
Yes. What actually informed this? Let me start with that. The passion.
Okay, so once again, thank you for having me. So I joined Man O War when I was in GS2. So Man O War is one of those organizations in secondary school that builds and shape young minds, right, in discipline and basically just to make sure that we are good citizens of the country. But proceeding into university and even outside university, it became more serious because we've been corrupted into the security architecture of the country, especially in Lagos State, whereby we give information to other security agencies, and then we also help in maintaining law and order. We have some of our men that are attached to some Lagos State operational team, like the Lamata, the task force, and the LCC. So, so for us, we just see ourselves as that body that assists the security architecture of Lagos State. And then I must really commend the Lagos State architecture, the security architecture. Lagos State is still one of the relatively free and safe states in Nigeria as we speak, because a lot has been done in the security architecture. So we just try as much as possible to just add our own bit in the security architecture of Lagos State.
Yeah, Nigeria is grappling with security challenges in some parts of the country, according to what I said earlier. What's this kind of challenges? What do you make of it? Because we expect that more things will be done to reduce terrorism, kidnappings, and also banditry.
Okay, so currently in some other part of the country, like in the northern part, I have some of my colleagues as well that work with the Joint Task Force, right? And that's JTF. They also help the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force in battling terrorism. But personally, I see security as every man's business, right? And then it starts from intelligence gathering, right? When you see something, you say something, right? Most times, they don't fall from heaven, right? They live within the community. They are part of the community. So what we preach, or what we do really, is to encourage citizens to give vital information that can help, help the security agencies to now carry out maybe investigation and then maybe apprehend if possible or escalate. So basically, I feel what we are really doing is information gathering, both our men, and also we also encourage a lot of citizens, right, to also take part in information dissemination and information gathering that can support the security architecture.
Okay, let me confirm if we have Major Yinka Ogunsanya from the United States of America linking up with us. Major, are you with us now? Okay, yes, you can hear me. I know you can hear me, but can you hear? We can't hear you really. Can you talk a little? How are you? Okay, well, let's see what is happening. Okay, we seem to be having some audio challenges there, but if you can hear us, okay. Major, what are the security, because we know that there are some security challenges facing Nigeria, but what's your own take on some of these security challenges? What do you think can be done to reduce this?
Thank you for having me once again, and I'm glad to be here again. Well, let's take a quick deep dive into what's going on in Nigeria. Like the gentleman just said, these guys are not aliens. They're not coming out from the sky. They're not invisible. They live among us, and there's some few key policy recommendations that I think is going to effectively help Nigeria. Number one is to make sure that counterinsurgency is the number one priority of the government. That's number one. Without security, you can forget about everything else. Business, agriculture, everything slows down, grind to a halt. The second thing is for the government to demonstrate a firm presidential will to get this done. And we have to be very transparent in the war funding. You know, we've allocated a lot of money to this sector. Are we getting return on our investment? Are we just engaging our young men and women without actually buying the equipment they need? You know, procuring the equipment doesn't mean you're solving the problem. Just throwing money at it does not solve insurgency. You have to do a battlefield assessment to understand what kind of equipment those guys are employing and how to counter those equipment and buy what is effective and train our personnel properly. You know, when you step out to go on a mission like that, a kinetic mission, you want to make sure the soldier or the personnel has about 90% chance of survival. You can't just keep sending these guys to their death. It's not feasible, and it's not sustainable. It's going to get to a point. I mean, we're seeing the point now that young men and women are reluctant to join the armed forces because of the chances. When I step out to go on a mission, I know I have a very high probability of returning back to the base because of the equipment and the training that I have. There is no two ways we have to secure our northern border. I mean, everybody in that sector knows that northern border needs to be secured. You can't have the enemy having freedom of maneuver in and out, unchecked. And you know, think about it. How did they get these weapons in? How did they get the force supplies? All their logistics. If we track the money, honestly, cut the funding off, cut the logistics off, this guy can be surrounded and be done in 6 months. But there must be a political will to do this. Our people have been getting killed enough. It's time to stop. Lastly, what I'll talk about is combined armed task force. I know the gentleman talked about the task force. So task force is not just a name. He has to be a 24/7 operational cell where every agency has a say and has an input and can get real-time intel and information. You know, we just have to do the two things right. The little things we take for granted is what that gets our personnel killed. For example, communication. If you're still talking on secure radio, the enemy is listening. And it takes away the element of surprise. So they're going to ambush you and kill you. Because, you know, ambush is the easiest way to kill.
Okay.
Have the
network challenges. Let me come to Ayo in the studio here.
is right, and we have to go hard at it.
Okay, can you still hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, just pause a little. Let me come to the studio here to talk to the commander of the man of war here in studio. Is the commander in Lagos State. Ayo, you just heard what retired Major Ogunsanya said there. Yeah, and you seem to agree with some of the things he said, because I saw you nodding your head.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, looking at this, your organization is supposed to get closer to the grassroots.
Yeah.
Now, no, in terms of giving more information to security agencies, how do you form that synergy? Because it is expected that your organization will do more of the legwork in the community to make sure that it is safe or is safer.
Okay, so one of the tasks we've been given as the new commander, because we just all the 36 states of the federation just got elected, right? And one of the tasks we've been given is to synergize the partnership we have with other sister agencies. What that means is that you meet up with the head in each of the states, right? Exchange contact, exchange communication line, so that when you have such information, you could actually reach out to them. So I'll just come in from the from the Office of the Immigration right now, where I met with the Lagos State Commander as well. We've exchanged some form of communication, right? So if we have any intel on illegal immigrant, for example, and all that, we're going to channel that to them, right? We'll also meet with other agencies, right? So if we have any information, depending on the agency that deals with that particular crime or that situation, then we link up with them and then we pass across that message to them. So at the grassroots level, we have a structure from the state command. We have 20 area commanders in each of the area, in each of the local government area, and then we have units that's in all LCDAs, right? So there's a flow of communication channel. So if you get an information in your locality, so that you reach out to your area commander, which in turn will reach out to any of the agencies at the local government area. So there's that relationship with all sister agencies where we can give them the information that we've gathered.
Okay, that brings me to the issue of community policing and state police. Do you carry arms? Does the organization carry arms?
No, we don't carry arms.
You don't carry arms?
Yes.
Okay.
Just some of the men in the northern parts that are part of the joint task force, everybody in the joint task force carry arms for just operational purposes.
They are trained in that area?
Yes, they are trained in that area. But for us here in the southern part, we don't carry arms.
Is it because the southern part of the country seems to be safer?
Absolutely.
That's why we don't carry arms here?
Absolutely.
Okay, Major, let me come to you in Texas there. Community policing is one thing that is very key to having a better society. Now, the state, the Nigerian government is also looking at ensuring that there is state police. Specifically, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said that state police is inevitable. But from what we're seeing, the Inspector General of Police has given a 60-month timeline. That means that's 5 years. So that means that even if the current president gets into power, it is when he leaves that they can create the state police, which people are frowning at. What's your take on this?
Thank you once again. So state policing is a very, very, very delicate topic. We have to kind of look at our society and try to adapt it to work for us. I'm skeptical about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. State police is one of the greater things you can do in community policing. It's a very good concept. But if you look at our particular country and how we handle things, it's very scary. To think an absolute power is going to be in the hands of a governor. Right now, I'm monitoring news in Ogun State, and I just heard that there's police siege on Otumba Daniel's home. You know, that's political. Is that what it's going to end up being? Using police to harass each other? Using police to intimidate opponents? You know, we've seen it in the United States too. We have security agencies President Trump is using to harass Democrats. You know, we have to figure out how to make it work for a particular society. Here, the way it's practiced here, the governor is not in charge. of any security apparatus. They're actually elected officers that, that they elect them to become the sheriff of the state or the county. They kind of break down into smaller units and they work in cohesion so that there's no absolute power to one person and do and undo. And two, being a multi-ethnic country, are we going to start developing individual state militias? Because if you think deeply about it, you have all these regions agitating for independence. Now we're going to give them police command with weapons. Are we developing individual armies in this area? So we need to have a honest conversation. I personally think it should be a regional police system where the central has some control, but it's more of an oversight and monitoring process. And gradually, we can grow into giving the state the power as we mature and we'll figure out what works best for us.
Okay, so in essence, what you're saying now is that you align with what the Inspector General of Police has said, that there should be some form of strategy or processes put in place. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years or 4 years, but what timeline are we looking at so that this can be created?
The timeline, I think 60 months is actually very realistic. But again, continuity. Will somebody else come after President Tinubu and decide to wipe it off? That is not needed. It's all about continuity. You know how many projects we've started in Nigeria, we've invested so much money, and somebody new comes in and we have to have some kind of continuity. Instead of focusing too much on state police per se, just like the gentleman said, integrating organizations like his to be the human intelligence on the ground should be the paramount effort of the government right now. Because we need to develop our intelligence picture. The biggest challenge I've seen so far is our intelligence picture. If you ask most of the commanders out there in the Northeast, they don't really have a full picture of what the posture of the Boko Haram. They know they're there. They know they have weapons. They can't tell you exactly each location where these guys are. You have to infiltrate these guys to be able to contact them. This is an asymmetric war, not a regular linear battlefield lineup that starts shooting. Is winning minds, and it's a psychological war effect and economic pressure as well. So he has about 3 approaches to solving this insurgency. And from the report I've read, most of these guys are not even Nigerians. So that's why the border, we need to create a border patrol agency that's going to lock down the border. And then we need to make sure our intelligence picture is close to being flawless. I mean, there's nothing going to be flawless, but it's close to it. That when we know they're moving, we actually find them moving. Right now, we don't know. They have an advantage over us because some of them we can deny it. The way I've seen the military get ambushed over time, these guys have more intel on the military positions than we do on them. They have the element of surprise. Whoever has momentum on the element of surprise is going to have the upper hand.
Okay, so what you're saying in essence is that the government needs to put some measures you have measured in place, which has to do with counter-insurgency, presidential will, monitoring of the borders, combined task force, also strong border patrol. Those are the things you have said that the government of Nigeria needs to put in place. I'm sure you agree with that since you mentioned it.
Yes, I do agree with that.
Okay,
and
yes.
Also, I would say, I will appeal to our leaders in the security sectors in Nigeria.
Okay.
If you don't have an idea how to fight a symmetric war, reach out for help. It's not everybody that's fought a symmetrical war, and it's not a type of war that you can learn sitting in office. It's something it's a living and breathing strategy that continues to be evolved. For example, if somebody asks you what does an IED looks like, Anything that you didn't bring to the battle space is an IED.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, Major Yinka Ogunsanya retired from the U.S. Army. Thank you so much. We don't have enough time. Would have loved to still continue to treat this, but I want to reassure you that you will still come back so that we can come and discuss further on some of these issues. In no time, I will get back to you and we'll come back to discuss it. Thank you so much for being part of Talk Point on Lagos Television.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, I also want to thank you so much, Ajayi. On a final note, in 30 seconds, what do you have for the government?
We'll just keep appealing to the government to work with necessary agency on how to tackle this insecurity, because it's not just about the government. Like retired Major said, it's also the willingness of the government to. And then we've seen some states take active part in that. And I'm sure we will get it right someday.
Yes. On that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. Thank you so much, my guests. I've been speaking earlier with Major Ajayi Yinka Ogunsanya of the U.S. Army. Is retired and has been giving us tips on how to ensure that we fight this symmetric war that is ravaging Nigeria. I also want to thank you so much, Ayodele Ajayi, the commander of the Man of War in Lagos State.
Thank you so much.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767, I want to still remain the lines to call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Ensure that you do what is necessary to make Nigeria greater and better for all to live in. I am Omololu Rosonwo, leaving it here for now.